There's a version of reality you're living in, and it's not real. It's a story you've been telling yourself, a carefully edited narrative, where you're the victim, where circumstances explain everything, where you're trying your best, where bad luck keeps finding you, and that story, that comfortable lie, is keeping you exactly where you are, because the truth, the actual truth about why your life looks the way it does, it's sitting right in front of you and you're pretending not to see it. Not because you're stupid, not because you don't know better, but because really seeing it, would shatter the story and force you to admit something you've been running from for years, that you're responsible, that you've been choosing this, that the life you're living is the life you've built through thousands of small decisions. And if that's true, if you built this, then the comfortable narratives collapse, the excuses evaporate, and you're left standing in front of a mirror, looking at the person who's been holding you back all along. The Stoics didn't deal in comfortable lies. They dealt in uncomfortable truths. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. They looked at reality without flinching. They accepted what was true, even when it hurt, especially when it hurt, because they understood that pain, that discomfort, that sting of truth is not the problem, it's the cure. It's the thing that wakes you up, that breaks you out of the trance, that forces you to change. And if you're still here, if you're reading this, then part of you knows you need to wake up. You need to stop hiding. You need to face what you've been avoiding. Because on the other side of these 7 truths, on the other side of the pain of facing them, is freedom, not the fake freedom of denial, but the real freedom of clarity, of knowing exactly where you stand and exactly what needs to change. So let me show you the truths you've been ignoring, the ones that hurt, the ones you don't want to hear, the ones that will change everything, if you're brave enough to face them. The first truth you're ignoring is this: nobody's coming to save you. Not your parents, not your partner, not your friends, not your boss, not some future version of yourself who's magically more disciplined. Nobody is going to swoop in and fix your life, solve your problems, make the hard decisions for you, because that's not how it works. That's a fantasy you're clinging to because it lets you stay passive, lets you keep waiting, lets you avoid taking full responsibility for the mess you're in, and the mess isn't going anywhere until you accept that you're the only one who can clean it up. Here's what this looks like. You're in a job you hate and you keep waiting for something to change, waiting for your boss to notice you, waiting for the company to get better, waiting for the economy to shift, waiting for the right opportunity to just appear, and years pass, and nothing changes because you're waiting for external salvation, when the only salvation available is the decision you keep avoiding, the decision to leave, to build something else, to take the risk. But that decision requires you to be the agent of your own rescue, and that's terrifying, because it means if you fail, you can't blame anyone else. It's on you, or you're in a relationship that's dying, and you keep hoping they'll change, hoping time will fix it, hoping if you just wait long enough, things will get better on their own, but they won't, because hope without action is just procrastination with a prettier name. And while you're hoping, while you're waiting, you're losing time, losing yourself, losing the chance to either fix it or leave it, because both of those options require you to act. And acting means accepting that nobody's going to do this for you. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He was emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world. And yet he wrote constantly about self-reliance, about the fact that no one could think for him. No one could choose for him. No one could make him virtuous. He had to do that himself. And if the emperor with all his power couldn't outsource his character, his decisions, his life, then neither can you, neither can anyone. Epictetus was even more direct. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and you're not master of yourself. You're waiting for permission, waiting for rescue, waiting for someone else to take responsibility so you don't have to, and that waiting, that passivity is a prison. You've locked yourself in and thrown away the key, and you tell yourself you're trapped by circumstances, when really you're trapped by the refusal to accept that the only person who can free you is you. I've watched people waste decades waiting for their parents to approve, waiting for their partner to change, waiting for the world to be fair, waiting for someone to believe in them. And the waiting, it becomes the identity. It becomes the excuse. It becomes the reason why nothing ever changes. And the tragedy, the absolute waste is that the whole time the power to change was right there in their hands. They just refuse to pick it up, because picking it up means accepting that from this point forward, every choice, every outcome, every consequence is yours. And that's a heavy burden. That's a scary responsibility. That's the thing you've been running from. But here's the truth: that weight, that responsibility, it's not a burden, it's power. It's the recognition that you're not helpless, that you're not at the mercy of everyone else, that your life is yours to shape. And yes, that means when you fail, it's on you. But it also means when you succeed, it's yours too. You built it, you earned it, you did it, and nobody can take that from you. Seneca wrote, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." And your tale, your life, it's being written right now by the choices you make today. And if you keep waiting, if you keep hoping someone else will write it for you, you'll reach the end and realize you never lived your story. You just watched from the sidelines, hoping someone would invite you to participate. And nobody came because nobody was supposed to. This was always yours. This was always your responsibility, your burden, your power, your life. So stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop looking for rescue and start rescuing yourself. Make the decision, take the action, face the fear, and discover that the person you've been waiting for, the one who's going to save you, the one who's going to change everything, has been there all along, looking back at you in the mirror, just waiting for you to finally accept the truth that nobody's coming. And that's not a tragedy. It's an invitation to finally start living the second truth you're ignoring. Is your comfort is killing you slowly, quietly, but it's killing you and you know it. You can feel it in the weight you're carrying, in the energy you don't have, in the dreams you stopped pursuing, in the person you see in the mirror, who's softer, weaker, smaller than the person you know you could be, and yet you choose it every single day. You choose the easy option, the comfortable path, the thing that requires nothing from you, and you tell yourself, you're tired, you deserve it. You'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow comes and the same choice presents itself, and you choose comfort again and again and again, until comfort isn't just what you choose. It's who you are. Here's what nobody tells you. Comfort is not neutral. It's not maintenance. It's not sustainability. Comfort is decay every day. You choose comfort over challenge every day. You pick easy over hard. You're not staying the same. You're getting weaker. Your capacity is shrinking. Your tolerance for discomfort is diminishing. Your ability to do hard things is atrophying. And one day, you're going to need that ability. You're going to face something hard, something that requires strength, resilience, the capacity to suffer, and you won't have it, because you traded it for comfort, for ease, for the path of least resistance. And you'll break not because the challenge was too great, but because you made yourself too weak. Think about your daily choices. Honestly, you wake up, the alarm goes off, and the first choice of the day is hard or easy. Get up or stay in bed, and you choose comfort. You tell yourself 5 more minutes, and those 5 minutes become a pattern, become a vote for the person who can't be trusted to do what they said they'd do, and the day continues. You should work out, but the couch is comfortable, the scroll is easy, the effort feels like too much. So you skip, you choose comfort, and your body, the vehicle you need for everything you want to do, it gets weaker, it gets slower, it becomes a liability instead of an asset. because you kept choosing comfort, or, you should have the hard conversation, should set the boundary, should address the problem. But conflict is uncomfortable. Tension is hard, so you avoid it. You choose peace over truth, comfort over resolution, and the problem doesn't go away. It compounds, it grows, it festers, and eventually it explodes in a way that's 10 times harder than if you just faced it when it was small. But facing it meant being uncomfortable, and you've trained yourself to avoid discomfort at all costs. Marcus Aurelius had every reason to choose comfort. He was emperor. He could have had anything, indulged in everything, and yet he wrote at dawn, "When you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" He didn't choose comfort. He chose duty. He chose effort. He chose the hard thing because he understood something. You're ignoring that comfort is not the goal of life. Character is. And character is only built through difficulty, through discomfort, through choosing the hard thing when the easy thing is available. Epictetus taught this explicitly. He said, difficulties are things that show what men are. For this reason, when a difficulty falls upon you, remember that God, like a trainer of wrestlers, is matched you with a rough young man. For what purpose, you may ask? That you may become an Olympic conqueror. But it is not accomplished without sweat. The difficulty, the discomfort, the sweat, that's not the obstacle. That's the training. That's how you become strong. And by choosing comfort, you're skipping the training. You're avoiding the gym. You're refusing to spar and wondering why you keep getting knocked down by life. I know someone who spent years choosing comfort, choosing the job that was easy over the one that challenged them, choosing the relationship that was comfortable over the one that pushed them to grow, choosing the couch over the weights, the scroll over the book, the distraction over the work, and slowly, year by year, they disappeared. Not physically, but essentially the person they could have been, the strength they could have built, the life they could have lived. It all dissolved into a comfortable mediocrity that felt safe but hollow. And by the time they realized what they'd traded, by the time they wanted their edge back, wanted their fire back, it was hard, so much harder than if they'd just maintained it all along, because getting it back required undoing years of soft living, years of comfort-seeking, years of choosing easy, and that's a brutal climb. But here's the good news. Here's the thing that makes this truth bearable. You can start now. You can stop choosing comfort today, and yes, it'll be hard. Yes, it'll be uncomfortable. Yes, everything in you will scream to go back to easy. But if you push through, if you choose hard, if you embrace discomfort, you'll discover something most people never learn. That discomfort is not the enemy. It's the forge. It's where strength is built, where character is shaped, where the person you want to become is created, and on the other side of consistent discomfort is a version of you that's capable, powerful, unbreakable. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials," and comfort is the absence of friction, the avoidance of trials. And in that avoidance, you're ensuring you'll never be polished, never be perfected, never be more than the rough, unfinished stone you are right now. So feel the hurt, feel the truth that your comfort is killing you, and then make a different choice. Choose the hard workout, choose the difficult conversation, choose the challenging project, choose discomfort deliberately, and watch how you transform, not someday, not eventually, but immediately. With every hard choice you're building someone stronger. The third truth you're ignoring is most people in your life don't want you to change. They say they do. They encourage you. They wish you well. But deep down, they need you to stay exactly where you are because your growth, your transformation, your becoming, it threatens them. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to look at their own stagnation. And they don't want that, so they'll sabotage you, not overtly, not maliciously but subtly, consistently, through jokes, through doubts, through invitations back to old patterns. And if you don't see it, if you don't recognize it, they'll pull you back down every single time. Here's how this shows up. You decide to change. You start working out. You stop drinking. You build a business. You set boundaries, and at first, people seem supportive, but then the comments start, "Why are you being so serious? You're not fun anymore. You think you're better than us." Or they invite you out when they know you're trying to stay disciplined. They bring junk food when they know you're trying to eat clean. They question your decisions, mock your ambitions, remind you of past failures, and they frame it as concern, as looking out for you, as being realistic. But what it actually is fear. Fear that if you change, if you grow, if you escape the level they're comfortable at, you'll leave them behind, and you will not because you want to, but because growth requires it, because you can't become who you need to be while surrounded by people invested in who you were. Marcus Aurelius dealt with this, constantly surrounded by people who wanted him to be a certain way, to maintain certain relationships, to make decisions that benefited them, not Rome, and he had to constantly resist, constantly choose his principles over a comfort, and he wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He wasn't being cynical, he was being prepared, because he knew that people, even people close to him, would resist his attempts to live according to virtue, and he had to be ready to choose virtue anyway. The hard part is that these aren't bad people. They're not villains trying to destroy you. They're friends, family, people who genuinely love you, but their love is conditional. It's based on the version of you that makes them comfortable. And when you outgrow that version, when you become someone they don't recognize, their love becomes resistance, becomes pressure, becomes the weight that holds you in place. And you have to choose. Do you shrink back down? Do you return to the person they need you to be, or do you keep growing and accept that some relationships won't survive your transformation? I watched this happen to someone close to me. They decided to get sober, and their friends, the people they'd partied with for years, they didn't support it. They said they did. But every weekend there were invitations. Every gathering there were comments. Every success there was subtle mockery. And eventually they had to choose the friends or sobriety, the comfortable, familiar community, or the hard, lonely path of change. And they chose change, and it cost them. It cost them friendships. It cost them belonging. It cost them the community they'd had for years. But what they gained, what they built on the other side, was a life they actually wanted to live.